Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2022. This is episode number 7. I've gone 2 weeks further into the season here. We've had 2 wins, 2 losses, and we had one very comfortable win. We had one semi-comfortable loss equaled by a semi-comfortable win, and then we had a loss that was just by a single point. Massachusetts Lowell on the road, and we lost 81-82. We were a field goal make away from coming out 3-1 from this 4-game set. Now, the downside here was 3 out of those 4 games were at home. And going forward, we have 4 out of our 6 remaining games on the road. We have 4 out of our 6 remaining games against teams with excellent home records. 9-1 at home, 7-0 at home, 9-1 at home, 9-1 at home. The 2 away teams that we have remaining, 1-11 on the road, 2-7 on the road. So you figure we're probably looking at 2-4 in the remaining games. And with that, we are in a huge group of teams at 4-6. There are 6 teams in the league that are 4-6. Nobody is getting totally blown out, and only one team, Alamo Heights, who we lost by 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, I don't know. Well, it was late. It was very, very late that we lost to Alamo Heights. We were so close to beating them. They are 9-1. They have a net that has them very high as a team, having a lot of success this season, and then you see it fall off. You can see Kennesaw State is a lot better than their 5-5 record suggests in overalls this season, and it shows as one of the only teams that's actually above 500. Remember, we're the bottom of the barrel. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel. So it makes perfect sense that the division as a whole is not good. The overall record as a whole is not good. Our 9-12 and 4-6 is better than most. It is better than most. But those 2 wins alone, the rest of the way, finishing 6-10, that's not going to cut it. That's going to be one of the bottom records. So I do fear for us. You know, we are 2-8 on the road this season. We are 7-4 at home. 7-4 at home is certainly good, but compared to everybody else, it definitely shows that we are. I mean, it'd be nice to move up a couple spots in the standings, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Meanwhile, recruiting, same-o. We are a month away from contact again, so we're going to push through those next few weeks. It's going to be during that conference tournament, and we have, 16? Yeah, we have 16 in the conference. If I remember how things work correctly, 12 teams qualify for the tournament, for the conference tournament, with the top 4 getting a first round bye, and then the next 8 playing each other, cutting down to 4 surviving teams, and then those 8 become 4, become 2, become conference champion. So that means the bottom 4 teams will not make the conference tournament. Now, I have no expectations. We're not good enough. We're not going to win anything, but I was kind of hoping to at least make the conference tournament. But at this stage, with just 2 more wins likely out of these last 6 games, there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be in the bottom 4 at the end of the season. Considering the coaching level and the team quality, it makes a certain amount of sense. Well, looky, this is just after the last time I was on. We're still in that same week, and we've had success number 3 of the season so far. This time it is Nick Lee, who says playing close to home is very important to him. It's a big factor. It's not number 1, but it's very important, meaning we've got a decent chance of being able to recruit him based on using location. So with that, I now know about Nick Lee. I know about Sean Ross. That leaves just David Watson of those who have interest that we're still looking to figure that out on. It was no surprise. 2 tough teams on the road resulted in 2 losses. Neither one was very close. I think our closest game was 15 points. The other was 20 plus in the terms of the loss. So we set up now at home against a team that is 500, where we are now quite a bit below that. But we are the favorites for this, as we are at home. They have struggled on the road. We've done okay at home. But taking care of business when you have a significantly worse record than your opponent and worse coaching, possibly worse players, it's not a foregone conclusion that we're going to get our win today and get one of our 2 wins for the remainder of the season. But the opening possession after they win the tip results in a miss and a rebound for us. And then at the other end, we miss our first shot, but we get the offensive rebound and convert that into the first score. After a deflection there, we're going to continue on, get fouled, make 2 free throws, and we lead 4-0 here early on. Looks like a foul down low resulted in a reset, and we were able to convert that field goal to go 3 field goals up here. But after a foul on that one, they do get on the board, so their first points coming from the free throw line. Hopefully that does not equal momentum for them. It does not, at least thus far, as they miss that three-pointer, and we start working the ball around the outside. Settle for the long-range three-pointer on top when we had somebody in a good position below on the free throw line who probably had a better shot as they were sitting in that zone. We take the 3 that time and convert. It's 9-4. But they make a 3 of their own, so we get back-to-back for the 2 teams. Finally work the ball to the inside, then take it to the elbow and make that one. It's 11-7. Good shooting so far. Nice on the second chance point there, and it's 13-9. Oh, another three-pointer for them, though, closes that gap. Back-to-back three-pointers, or at least 2 out of 3 possessions, changed the tone of the game where we had been ahead and looking good. Couple quick three-pointers and things changed real quick, but we got a fast break after the turnover, after the steal on top, and our point was able to run the court coast to coast, and it's 19-16. Long range 3 under pressure, not the shot you want taking, or the long range 2 on that one, though we do make it this time. 21-18. Got the rebound there. Ball movement is keeping us out wide. We make the 3, however, a little nervous about our inability to get the ball inside, or when we do, it's all long range 2s. We are not getting the ball in the paint at all at this stage. I say that as we do finally, and it looks like it resulted in a turnover. Defensively, we're locking them down pretty well outside of making those three-pointers, which I'm guessing they've got a pretty high percentage. No, 2 of 5 is all. We're actually 3 of 6. We're shooting the ball better from range than they are. The free throws is keeping them in the game at 10 of 11 compared to our 4 out of 5. How are we doing on fouls, by the way? Team fouls 8-5, so that's hurting. Our aggressive defense is forcing a lot of misses, but it's getting them to the free throw line a lot more at the moment. Let's back off on the intensity a little bit. We're already at 9 team fouls, about to go, entering double bonus from here on out, and there's still 7 minutes to play in the half. Nice 3 there, and we've opened up a little bit of a gap. It's a 9-point lead. Finally, we also pick up a foul. We only make 1 out of 2 this time, but it's 38-30. We were up by 10 there momentarily. Finally get the ball inside of the low block, draw the foul. Thought we had free throw attempts, but I didn't see any attempts. Momentum is in our favor, but only slightly. Miss there, but they get the offensive rebound as that rebound went a little bit long, and they miss the open layup going in tight. Both teams playing man-to-man right now. There's the steal. The inside defense, the interior defense, forced the pass back to the outside, which we were able to intercept, covering our man from the inside. Surprised we still have some momentum considering it's been all them in the last minute and a half, including the fouls. We're already in the double bonus. They've had 18 free throw attempts here in the first half. And that's the difference. The free throws, I mean, they're plus 10 on free throws in terms of makes compared to us. They're plus 8 on attempts compared to us. That's what's keeping them in this game. But it's those turnovers that are also giving us an advantage. They have 10, we have 5. Another 20 attempts by the time we hit the half. But we made the three-pointer there in the last second. We made the last-second shot. They had tied it up. There was only about 2 seconds left on the clock. We were able to get the ball inbounded and get the three up and make it. I'm not sure who made that three, but that was huge to reestablish the lead entering the locker room at halftime. On the fast break, we're up 6-2. Second chance points, just 4-2. Neither team getting very many second chance points, and points in the paint, where we had pretty much nothing for a long time there. We did end up getting 10 by halftime. But where we've had a couple momentum swings going our way, those free throws have allowed them to get back in. A few timely threes as well has made a bit of a difference in this one. No players in double digits for either team in terms of scoring at this stage. Wallace only 5 minutes played and 3 fouls committed. That's a real worry here. That's probably one of the things that allowed them to get back into this, as we obviously lack depth. We'll keep that defensive intensity a little bit lower here in the second half and hope for a few fewer fouls. And yet in the first minute, first defensive possession, already we've been called for a foul. (50-43), good start to the half with 2 makes already. 3 makes before they've even had their first. Another miss there, but they get the rebound and we get called for our 3rd foul. I've lowered the intensity. We are not playing that intense. Is it just that my defenders are that poor individually that they commit that many fouls? Because even backing off, we're already sitting on 4, less than 3 minutes into the half. You play 20 minutes and a half and you only get the 10 fouls before you're in double bonus. So you should only be committing 1 foul every 2 minutes on rate. That means we should have had 1 to 2 fouls at that point. Now, 2 fouls at this point, going on to maybe a 3rd, and we're sitting on 5 already. Really, really worried about the high number of fouls that we are committing. We're up by 10. We're dominating, controlling the game otherwise. Well, once they get into the bonus and start getting all those extra free throws instead of having to take the ball from the sideline and pass it in, that could be a turning point once again, as it was in the first half. We had pulled out to a 10-point lead, and then through the bonus and all the extra free throws, they slowly made their way back in with all those extra looks at the rim. Again, 7 fouls already, and the lead's down to 3 just like that. Straight down to the other end, another foul. And again, 3 possessions in a row, and we're at 9 fouls with 10 minutes to play. At this point, we just need to keep the defensive intensity high, and there's nothing we can do. We are just getting absolutely... I'm going to work the refs. I get warned immediately. I've gone through 3/4 of this game, and we have had more fouls in 3 minutes than they've had in the entirety of the game. And I finally open my mouth, and I get warned immediately by the refs. Okay, we're up by 6. despite everything, we're up by 6. Despite the fact that they're in the double bonus and sitting on just 3 fouls themselves, we are still getting a lot of turnovers. We are still getting a lot of rebounds. And we still look like the team more likely to win this game. But it's going to be nervous energy from here because every foul is a trip to the free throw line. Make that one. It's an 11-point lead, our largest of the game. We also get the rebound, and we finally draw a foul. We're up by 12. Another rebound there. Looking good at this stage. Looking good. Cage sitting on 11 points. Dyer has 8. Wallace finally playing. He's sitting on 4 fouls. Cage and Dyer also sitting on 4 fouls. That's the biggest concern at this stage. But let's go ahead and slow down the offensive pace a little bit as we are going to start stalling on offense. 3 minutes to play, up by 13. We want to work that clock a little bit. 2-minute drill starting at the 3-minute point. They're up to 8 fouls. A lot of these fouls are going to start coming because of the gap, but we're up 15 now. It's looking pretty secure. A turnover there, though, provides them an opportunity. A 3 here would really swing the momentum. Momentum is not going either way, but as we got that rebound, the momentum started to swing back our direction. They weren't able to convert after the steal. Nice ball movement right there, but not coming together. Oh, offensive rebound and a foul. Brings it down to 11, but that is it. 90-76. If not for the fouls, which they picked up some fouls late in the game, that's common. If you're not familiar with basketball, when you are down, you need the ball, and you need the clock not working against you. So when you're down, you up your intensity, you get more aggressive, and you're either going to force a steal, force a really bad shot, or you're going to commit a foul because you can't afford to have the other team, especially in college where the shot clock is 30 seconds instead of 24. That extra 6 seconds eats up a lot of time. Half a minute for one possession. If you go down and take a quick shot at the other end, say within 6 seconds, more than a minute's going to have gone by in just 2 possessions from that team if they're trying to stall. So the clock just goes down like that. And if you're chasing the game and you're down by 8, 10, 14 points, those possessions and that clock just running out really hurts. Really, really hurts. So you use up fouls, especially if you have fouls to give in those circumstances. One of the reasons why you do that is that inbounding the ball, right? If the other team's in their offense, they can hold that ball quite easily. A point guard and a couple good wing players can really keep the ball away from the defense, and they can use up that 30 seconds quite easily. By fouling and forcing the inbounds, you're forcing a reset, and just getting the ball in bounds from a stationary position where that player's locked in on the sideline, if your defense is good enough, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to get that ball in. And so you can get a lot of turnovers initially, or even if they do catch and receive the ball, if you're making a quick play to that, the hard work that went into getting open usually translates into a half second to a second, maybe even a second and a half, where you are receiving the ball, getting the ball under control, and starting your dribble. So there is a very small window, even if you don't intercept the pass itself, you have a small window where you can put the player under pressure and steal the ball. So you look for those opportunities when you're chasing a game. So for them to eventually get up to 9 fouls is expected when they're chasing the game. That is circumstantial. The situation throughout the entirety of that game was we were called for significantly more fouls than they were over the course of that. You could subtract 5 of their fouls due to chasing the game late, which means they were on about 14 heading into those final 2 minutes. We were at 27. I'm not sure we committed any fouls in the last 2 minutes. So 27 to 14. We doubled them in fouls. Now, a big part of that is due to the defensive pressure. If you are pressing the ball more, you are more likely to make that minor mistake and get called for a foul. As a coach, in real life, this is that style of defense that I play. I play with a high pressure. My teams commit a lot more fouls, naturally. So it is part of the game. If we are more aggressive than they are, we will be called for more fouls. But 2-1 is harsh. 2-1 is very, very, very harsh in those regards. Cage ended up the only one fouled out. Ronnie Wallace, though, played 13 minutes. Cage only ended up playing 19, even though he was 6 from 6. Perfect from the field. Perfect from the free throw line. Perfect beyond the arc. Of course, that counts as part of the field. That's 4 2-point field goals. That's 2 3-point field goal attempts. And 3 free throws are separate from your field goals. 17 points, though. Solid day. Only a +0, though, for Cage. Morton, off the bench, a +17. McIntyre, also a +17. Really solid from those two when they were on the court. We were at our best. Big difference in this game. Obviously, the extra free throws for them is what kept it a game. Outside of that, we completely dominated. They were 18 for 51 from the field with just 5 3-pointers made. Their attempted 3-pointers, almost the same as ours. Their overall field goal attempts, 9 fewer. That's coming down to the turnovers. They had 5 more than we did. We had 15 steals. They had just 8. We don't take great care of the ball, but our pressure does force a lot of turnovers. Forces extra fouls, though. The double bonus is where you get into the trouble with that. Guys getting in foul trouble is where you get into trouble with that. Eventually, as I have better defenders, it won't be as big of a problem. But them shooting 35% from the field while we shot 51, that's where we won this. 43 from 3, where they were 23% from 3, that's where we won this. The extra 17 points that they made at the free throw line on an extra 14 attempts, that's where a total blowout got close. Reached the end of the season. Here is the list of players that have decided to declare for the draft, as in the NBA draft, and none of our guys have. That's no surprise, is they're not talented enough, and that's one of our good things is you don't lose as many players when you're this bad, which is funny, right? You would think that that would be the case. But the way that players leave is generally 2 things most of the time, okay? Item number 1, the player is so good that they're going to go get paid to be in the NBA. That's a good reason for a lot of people, getting paid. A lot of money. Reason number 2, their team is so good that they, despite being a good player, aren't going to get the playing time to become the player that's going to be so good that they can get paid in the NBA. That's the dream for most of them. Not all. Some of them just love the sport, love to play, care about the education, care about what's going to happen after school. But for many, the dream is get to the NBA, get paid to play basketball for a living. And therefore, they got to think about numero uno, as in themselves. And if you know anything about Americans, we are pro think of yourselves types. We do it best. As do many of our college athletes. So those who are good but not recognized as good enough to have an impact on their really good team, meaning not getting enough minutes to get recognized for being good, they will shift gears and move to another school, transfer to look for a better opportunity where their skills can be appreciated and recognized, and that they have a chance at living out that dream. They don't just accept the scholarship, keep their head down and play and prepare for life beyond basketball. They look to re-spark their hopes of making the NBA. I would love to see the stats on players that have transferred that make the NBA, or in other sports for that matter, doing the similar type thing. I would not be surprised if their percentages are absurdly low versus those who stay. Yeah, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 3 years, whether it's all 4 years, or even a redshirt year and therefore 5 years, maybe even the occasional 6 years where you have an injury year. I don't think this game has injury years tied into it, but or a COVID year, which was kind of the equivalent of an injury year. Some players have used that as they took last year off. Anyway, point being, players transfer because they're not good enough and they want to go somewhere where they're going to be good enough. So if I have players that were backups to other players, where are they going to transfer to get more playing time? We're already at the bottom of the barrel. You got to climb the ladder to have a place for those players to go, right? Because they're going down to a smaller school. You leave Duke and you go to my alma mater, you go to Oregon. You leave Gonzaga, you go to Washington State. You leave Oregon and you go to Portland State, or you go to, some Midwest college. That's how it works. You step down, you scale down the school. If we're already at the bottom, there's nowhere for these players to transfer. If they weren't good enough to play for us, they're not going to play elsewhere. Now, that's not to say that the AI isn't going to assume that there's another place to play. And in reality, there is. It's just not going to reignite their career. It's junior college. It's the community college, as we refer to it, that they could go play at. But they're probably not going to do it with a major scholarship. They're not going to do it on a big 4-year university campus. It's that 2-year school. But anyway, let's go ahead and push forward. We're almost into that signing period. I'm excited for that to come. But the tournament, well, that's what I'm hoping we got into, and I just don't think we did. And it appears from this screen that we will not. There are 3 teams behind us at the bottom of the standings at 5-11. There are 2 teams at 6-10. If 4 miss the tournament, that means 1 of either Riverside Baptist or myself. One of us will miss the tournament. Based on this screen, it appears that we are the ones missing the tournament. Based on that information, it looks like we're going to have a very quick wrap up to the season itself, being that we are not going to have any further basketball to play. That being said, what is still to do and what is instrumental, what's key, is recruiting. Right now we only have 1. But we enter another contact period on March 19th. It only lasts for a week. It's going to go quiet again for a couple weeks, but then we have contact period again for a few additional weeks. So we have 4 more contact periods to go. Now, we've already seen that on that last chunk, which lasted 4 weeks, we were able to recruit just a single player. That's harsh. However, this time around, things were a little different than they are in the early contact period. Here's how that one works. In the early contact period, roughly a quarter of the players will make that early decision. 3/4 wait till the late period. Just because they're cool on us now does not mean they'll stay cool. There is a better chance, especially if we are the only ones offering them something, that when we hit that contact period, we can go from cool to hot quite quickly, because they now know that it's now or never. They are in that late signing period. And so it can turn on quite quickly, especially if you know the right thing to say to them, the right thing to pitch. And for 3 of my 4 or 5 targets, we know what to say to them. So we've got a chance. We've got a chance at recruiting still, hopefully more than one. That is going to do it for this episode, though. That's going to be the focal point of the next episode, is that recruiting, those pitches, and seeing where we're at, and hoping that there aren't any transfers, or maybe that a transfer wants to come to us, because we are that scale down where you can get that playing time. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.